I don't know. Hi, y'all. Good morning. Yeah.
And welcome to
Just-
show number 6 of
Just Look at It. And it's Labor Day. We were just going, is Labor Day something we celebrate? I don't know.
I don't know. I always worked on Labor Day.
Right. Like, it's a
Was I
national...
supposed to be working on Labor Day?
Right.
Because nobody ever told me that I should be. Do we work on Labor Day and celebrate it by working, or do we
Do you
not
have
work
your
on
mic
Labor
on?
Day and celebrate labor?
Good
by not
morning.
working?
How about let's use a mic?
Oh,
They're already plugged in. How about
do they
that?
even hear us?
Yes, they do. They're hearing you thunk it right now. Oh, just clip it on the outside so you got it easily. Yeah, working on that.
We're completely put together this morning.
Good morning. And
just-
we are talking about law enforcement sting operations today, so it is going to be so much fun.
And if you didn't hear it, happy Labor Day.
Right. And give us a comment. Let us know you're there. We're using StreamYard, and sometimes, well, you have to comment for us to see it. We can't see all your hearts, loves, and likes, and I would love to, but I can't.
Yes, and if you're watching, if you don't see the red at the top in the left-hand corner,
It says
you're
live.
watching that says live. You're watching on the replay, and you can just do like hashtag replay. That way we know you're there. Like
Right.
we can see you and we can comment and love on you.
Yup, yup.
So, hi guys.
Good morning.
When the world's going crazy. Wow, I need to tune up, don't I? Tune my voice.
Are you tuning it? I'm going to pull up the articles we're going to be talking about today. Good stuff, good stuff.
When the world's going crazy and you don't know what to do, just look at it. I say when the world's going crazy and you don't know what to do, just look at it.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Jess.
And my name is Reed, and we're a power couple. We're an
We're a
effing
lot of
power
things,
couple,
and
and we're excited to
all
be here because
power.
we're talking about some really, really interesting topics.
Right. But you know what? It is always interesting when you know something like deep inside of you, and then it starts being public. Like,
Mhm.
because there are certain things that you can't talk about without getting sued. And then when some big media agency like the New York Times puts out an article, it's suddenly you can read the article without being sued. And that is
Mhm.
really, really handy.
Yes.
And so what we're talking about today is these stings, predator stings. So there's like Operation Net Nanny.
Mhm.
There's a few of them.
Mhm.
I forgot the one that was going around right now. But basically, I'm going to, in the comments after the show, I will post the 2 articles that we're going to be talking about today. So you can see them. One of them is from Reason.com. One is from the New York Times. But it's really talking about what happens when someone gets arrested in these predator stings. And okay, so what's going on is you see these images, these memes on Facebook with all of the faces of people who have been arrested,
Yeah.
right? And now they've just been arrested. They have not been convicted because legally you can shame anyone who has been arrested for anything regardless of a conviction. So when you're talking about child sex crimes, people automatically assume guilty till proven innocent instead of innocent until proven guilty. So first off, people are being shamed without being proven guilty.
Mhm.
But what happens in these stings?
Yes, that's where it gets really, really ugly.
Right, because there's predators have victims. And without victims, are they even a predator?
In this case, they're saying that they are, because most of the people that go to court, how many have there been?
Hey,
300
Letitia.
and
Well, 300, according to these articles, 300 in Washington state alone. Because really all of these all of these operations function the same general way. And so they set up this sting. I've got to take a drink of water. They set up this sting where there is, I'm just going to read it. This one's from Reason. Cops use pictures of adult women to trick men into meeting for sex, arrest them as child predators. So that is the title of the Realm Reason article. The other article is from the New York Times, and it's titled "Convicted of Sex Crimes, but with No Victims." Now, this was really, really powerful. I've been seeing this happen for years because I taught one set of John's school, and I was like, I am done with this. I can't do this anymore. So here's what happens. The police set up a sting.
Yeah.
And they have an officer who takes a picture. She's normally young, in her early 20s.
Younger looking.
Younger looking. And then some cop dude is pretending to be her and like posting ads on Craigslist, posting ads in places where you're supposed to be over 18. And then they engage in conversations with men. Mm-hmm. And then they set them up. And so dude comes to whatever house. At some point, the officer reveals that they're like 13 to 15 years old. And
they drop the hint.
They say it directly because that's what makes it stick in court. Mm-hmm. But yet the photo is clearly of a woman in her 20s. Mm-hmm. They clearly correspond in a way and using words that are not that of a teenager. And then when they show up, it is the same officer that is in their early 20s. And so like stepping into that officer's home, the sting house, that is considered going with the 13-year-old to have sex, even though she visibly looks older, she sounds older, and she behaves older. Right. The moment you step into the house, or the moment you buy condoms, or the moment you do anything, even if nothing appears that they're a minor, it's crazy.
So they're convicting them based on setting them up with someone who is not a minor in order to arrest them, then try them for something that they didn't do.
Right. So there's no actual victim. Now, these stings, it is such a tricky subject. These stings, now, if it were set up to where when they collected, 40 guys, and then they look at their internet history, because people leave trails. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go fuck a 13-year-old. There's like evidence. There's like child porn somewhere. There's these other things that contribute to them being a predator. Well, according to Washington State, in these articles, arrest the elite. You know what? Yeah, I got to throw that one up there. Thank you, Atisha. Hell yeah. Because there's a lot coming from the top down.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, we're going there.
We're going to set the scene here.
So let's say you are, and these articles detail stories of people who were arrested.
Yeah.
There was this one dude, he's 20 years old. He's like a total gaming nerd. That's how he identified. He's kind of like reclusive. And he had met a few women throughout the years on Craigslist to have sex with. And he just likes people who game, have fun, and enjoy each other's time.
He also described as the officers.
Well, hold on, we're not there yet.
Okay.
He's 20 years old. And so when she reveals that she is 13, he goes, you mean 23? And there's no real response. And her picture doesn't align, nothing aligns, because in reality, the picture of her, the officer is 24 years old, which is actually 4 years older than him.
Right.
Now, he buys condoms, he goes and visits her, and the moment he walks through the door, he gets arrested for, it's in the article. He's a sex predator. Now, he ends up defending himself in court. He took the stand. The article is freakishly long. He took the stand and could not believe what happened. He ended up getting 18 months to life. And he has no criminal record, no child porn
Had
anywhere.
no criminal record.
Had no
before.
criminal record. He's in prison
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And I just want you to think for a second how easy it would be to be tricked. If you're 20 to 25 years old, you're young, you're not understanding, things aren't corresponding.
Mhm.
But get this, this is where the article really blows the lid off of things. Because out of those 300 people in Washington state who have been arrested in these types of sting operations, they have arrested a few predators, like true, real predators, like they had evidence, they had shit. But 75% of them had no child porn anywhere and no criminal record.
Wow.
And so it's like even the jury was going, why don't these defendants claim entrapment? And it's because of the shame that happens
Right. They'll
when
get
they're
publicly-
initially arrested. Their face, name, age, location, everything is already public record. And so there's no chance of being innocent until proven guilty because they've already been shamed. Their faces have been used. There's no one left. Gets me worked
I
up.
sat in on a court case where a young man, I was a potential juror. I mean, I showed up because it was a mail-in thing. I showed up as a juror. They sent me home, but I got to hear the entire case and what entailed.
details.
The details. And it was a young man who was accused of assault and battery and theft of some kind.
Was this in Oregon?
This was
I
in
forgot about
Oregon.
this. Yeah.
And in that situation, I saw this young man, when he was asked to speak for himself, he and explain any of the details if they were accurate or not.
This was in the
he-
jury selection?
Yeah, he was 15 years old.
What the? I don't even remember this.
Okay.
It's
so
been a while.
I was sent home.
What was the point?
I had to go back to work.
Right.
The point is that I could see that a young man in a position of being caught in the middle of something really terrible would not defend himself, even if it wasn't a sex crime.
Right. And
Even
you're
if it wasn't
talking
a
about a
potential sex crime.
child sex crime.
Because
Because-
as soon as that person admits to it,
Right.
as soon as that person actually starts trying to defend themselves, then they're really setting themselves up for public scrutiny.
Right. It's the shame that's associated with it. So this dude, Hambrick, 20 years old, still living with his mother, trying to save money for college. His mom started a blog when he was incarcerated, started a blog, and throughout 2 years of blogging, she only acquired 141 followers. Now, those 141 followers were all people in situations like her. It's that people aren't listening to what's really happening. Okay, so as you go further down in the article, you start seeing how these operations are funded and what happens.
Right.
So this was the thing that I couldn't talk about because I didn't want to get sued. I didn't want to get defamation lawsuits.
Mhm.
But in the article, it actually talks about Operation Underground Railroad and how Operation Underground Railroad actually funds these specific operations in Washington. So they lay out the whole thing and the entire funnel of they're just trying to get arrests because the arrests make everything look good.
Yeah.
There's so much hiding. There's so much deception. And in the process of those 300 men who were arrested in Washington state, 25% of them were under the age of were 25 or younger.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
At 25, you're not thinking, is this a sting operation? Especially if you've never been aware of those types of things.
So,
If child sex trafficking has never been a thing for you, you don't look at child porn, you would think that someone's just role playing. that they're
Yeah.
playing some kind of
I
game.
think our audience is really catching this.
Okay, why do you think the cops are doing this? What's the agenda angle? It's
Okay, hold up. Back it up for a second.
Okay.
So here we are looking at the psychology of what's happening, but in reality, we're looking at, what's
Why?
their agenda? Why?
Okay.
What's
So
their agenda?
why-
What we can see is that
the people are hungry.
there's this
Sorry.
predator. That's a predator prey situation
Right.
where and Jess, you can speak to this because you did more reading on this, but
People
When-
demand
when
solutions.
people-
Sorry, it's so easy.
it's not that. I mean, yes, it is.
I think
It is.
Hold on.
But there's this other side of it where when you're a police officer and you're in charge of getting someone, catching the bad guys, you have to come up with something.
You need numbers.
You need numbers.
There's quotas.
The
You have to
problem
go get the
is-
bad guys.
when you go after the people who are oftentimes the predators, they know police officers. They are
Mhm.
friends with people, politicians in the community. Sometimes they're pastors. Sometimes they're leaders at Boys and Girls Club. Like, I don't know why we have to see so many news articles that are sending people, and then we're seeing them less and less and less, but sending people to prison who were in a position of power and child predators. And
Right.
then
the real predators.
and
Okay.
then say cops are doing what's right. Cops are doing this. They're catching the predators. But then when we look at these articles, they're not catching the predators. They're going after someone else. Who are they protecting is what I'm asking.
Yes.
I
Who
think
are they
Letitia
protecting?
brought that up.
Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. Cops have to have quotas. That's why. Have you ever been caught in a speed trap? They do those things typically at the end or the beginning of the month because they're having to hit quotas. Law enforcement has to have quotas. If there is an uprising of a cry, catch the predators, catch the predators. And that's been going on for a really long time. Like when I first started in the anti-trafficking movement back in 2009, it was the same thing. Catch the predators, save the children, same exact thing. What if when you find the predators, they are the people in power? What if when you find the predators, they are the pastors, the judges, the law enforcement? They are them. They have to create predators because of the outcry.
Yeah.
So they set up these sting operations and then they work with things like right here. Hold on. Our is such bullshit. He thinks we all need to be saved. Exactly. They actually, in the article, Operation Underground Railroad has given $470,000 to police departments within Washington state in order to set up these predator stings. It's because Operation Underground Railroad has raised millions of dollars over the years since 2013, and they need results.
They need
They need results. They need numbers. Someone has to be the bad guy. Go get the bad guy.
So
And
they
so
need numbers.
over
I
and
could
over
I
and
could
over.
easily. Why is it that we as people
Right
who
there.
are not in-
Corruption is hard to grasp because of TV brainwashing.
absolutely.
Right.
It's at the very core. The most interesting thing I see in regards to TV brainwashing is that TV generally paints it so much better and with so much more justice. You notice, like,
Hollywood
if you
gives you
have-
the real thing, but they call it fiction.
well, what I'm saying is the TV shows that we watch really sugarcoat things unless you're watching rated R movies that are very intense. Everything is very whitewashed, and it makes you wonder why. Like, why is it so entertaining to catch bad guys? Have it be whitewashed and have it be simple,
What you gonna do?
and remove all of the complexity around what happens to a human being when they're arrested, or what happens to a police officer when he's caught in a bad situation, has to make, or he or she is in a situation, has to really make decisions quick and feels like shit about it and feels suicidal. Like, there's so much shit that goes on and it's whitewashed. And that is a really good point.
Everything is whitewashed. We've whitewashed trauma. Like what law enforcement experiences is like severe ongoing trauma.
Yeah.
We have a trauma problem within law enforcement that is not being addressed. That trauma problem creates this Call it what you want. Savior complex, white savior complex. It creates this thing where we have to go get the bad guys and arrest them, but really, we're not getting the right bad guys. Letitia says, are they, you know what, guys, if you have questions, just drop them in, we'll get to them. Are they simply trying to act like they're doing something about child sex trafficking? Yes.
It makes me really, really wonder because
hold on. I want to answer that.
Yeah.
Are they simply trying to act like they're doing something about child sex trafficking? The answer to that is yes. They have to create the appearance that they're stopping child sex trafficking by giving all of these names. But notice, like in the photo that I shared yesterday, like half the dudes were smiling. They had no freaking clue what was going on, that their lives were about to be destroyed. Like someone has to go down, and it's sure as hell not going to be the elite. So they will throw anybody and everybody under the bus in order to avoid being arrested or called out.
I like this.
Yeah.
One. Without vetting out the police stations, how many of us would have had police as dates, pimps, and were paid off?
Oh, okay. Nicholas, I wasn't going to say it,
on this?
but you say how many of us. So that very clearly says, Nicholas, you are a survivor. I am a survivor. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using your voice. I honor and respect you so much because it is not easy. It is absolutely not easy speaking out. So thank you for speaking up. And yes, we have to vet the police stations. I know many actually, I don't even know that I know a survivor who did not have at least one really bad experience with law enforcement. I myself had hundreds easily because it's a very normal thing when you're out on the streets. I was privileged in my look to be able to have the option of giving a blowjob to not go to jail. That meant I could keep working for the night and make my quota for my pimp. But then I also know survivors who have been trafficked by the sheriff, trafficked by the chief of police. These are real things. They're happening all over. I have seen anti-trafficking organizations started and ran by traffickers. I have seen pastors who are traffickers. There's one in prison right now. I've known 3 of the girls that were his. 3. This is over and over and over.
What I see that's important is to look at just recent history and what we end up discovering on the other side when a corrupt politician or a police chief has been caught. And generally we find out that there's layers to it. I mean, the movies really don't lie in regards to the layers of who gets in trouble and who doesn't. You know, there's always somebody who gets thrown underneath the bus. I mean, all the way we can look at
judges too.
It's judges too.
It's judges too, and that's it. It's every
like just look at like Martha Stewart, for instance. Like the system is so blatant that it's like if we can't see that there are layers and that people get thrown under the bus and that there's this psychological media war happening, and with the internet and Twitter, it just gets even grittier. It gets more tricky. But it's really straightforward in that Martha Stewart goes to prison while all of these men get off scot-free. So what is the lesson in it? And I think it's that leadership starts from the top down. Like it's the top down. I would like leadership. Leadership in our household starts, and with our clients and what we teach, is that it starts from the bottom up. We actually are responsible for our own actions and how we influence others. But that is not how it works in politics. That's not how it works in law enforcement. And that is not how it works in most religious communities. And so it breeds corruption. And we can just blatantly see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to address this, Wendy. This is Tim Ballard of Operation Underground Railroad has Masonic ties.
There's a lot of people with Masonic ties.
I don't know who has Masonic ties, but I do know.
I know. I was Mormon.
Okay. But I do know this because there are court cases out there. Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad has the same lawyer that protected the LDS Church when it came to the childhood sexual abuse accusations. So a number of years back, there was another article, I think it's the American Criminal Justice Center or something like that. I have other articles on that. But the same lawyer that represents our and Tim is the same lawyer that protected the LDS Church from the allegations around childhood sexual abuse and all kinds of ugliness. They like literally scoured. So it's just, I try really hard to just focus on what I can prove, because if I can't prove it, then it's just an idea. But seeing that same connection, same lawyer, same everything, there's definitely something going on there, and that is a bit terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I knew it was there. I don't know. This is the thing. I don't ever know what someone is doing. Every time I thought I could predict and I was like, ooh, they're doing that, I was wrong. So I quit saying, oh, they're doing that, and just said,
Right.
There's something fishy going on here. I don't know what it is, but there's something here, and I need to just look at it, figure out, like, just sit back, watch, keep reading articles, and I know when the internet keeps getting scrubbed, there's something really ugly going on underneath. Honestly, I really, truly do not believe that Tim Ballard got into this thinking that, oh, he's going to do something bad. I really believe that he had the best intentions all the way through, like until something happened. I got into the anti-trafficking movement with the best intentions, realized it was really ugly on the inside, and got out. And so, but when you start getting funding in the millions, it's really hard to go, oh shit, I'm going to get out.
Yeah.
And so really, I have a lot of sympathy, and yet not so much empathy. I get all sweaty and hot.
There we go.
I understand. Doesn't make it okay, but I understand.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you get so far in, and I know that's how corruption continues, is because in general, corruption happens because you get in, and then someone gets something on you, and now you can't get out.
Right.
That's what corruption is. It doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's that it's you get blackmailed. You get in, you do something, you make an accident, you have an accident, and then you have no way out. You have no option. The only way is to take the fall. And when you take the fall, you lose everything and you ruin everything.
You lose all of your
You
reputation.
lose your reputation, you lose all of it. I know, because that's what I experienced.
Okay, so we need to address this. The Masonic roots make me question. So within most modern advanced countries
We're gonna keep that up.
and not so advanced countries, there are Masonic ties to everything. That doesn't, I don't think it necessarily means that it's good or bad. Like, I think we should look at it kind of objectively and just look at it. I grew up Mormon. I grew up fundamentalist Mormon and then LDS. And I'd have to say that LDS was a lot more higher functioning than fundamentalist Mormons, and which was good, like, honestly. But at about 11, 12 years old, I started questioning this priesthood that I was entering into very soon. And I started questioning my teachers, and they became very angry with me and frustrated because I would ask the hard questions around, what do the rituals mean and why am I going to do them? And I asked my dad, and he would resist and resist and resist. And he finally told me, we quit blood rituals in the late 80s, but this is part of temple ceremonies, and it's part of being in the high priesthood as well. And it has to do with there being an innocence. At 8 years old, you're baptized. No exceptions. If you're someone who was born into the church, if you're not baptized at 8 years old, you're basically looked at as having problems. You have issues. your parents aren't doing what's responsible. You're not really following the Lord. And so I got baptized and I started asking questions. And when I got to the bottom of it, there's a lot of rituals that happen with thousands and thousands of LDS people and in fundamentalist Mormon cults that specifically have to do with the drawing blood of the innocent, people who are under 18 years old. And it's common practice. It's normal.
It's just not talked about.
I don't want to believe that everyone is a predator because of it, because that doesn't make sense. But it is a ritual. Yes, it is Masonic, and it's been around for a very long time. And the LDS Church adopted what it was already there for hundreds of years.
Right, if not thousands, because
thousands.
don't the Masonic roots they
It
go way thousands of years back.
It's been adapted over time. Yes,
Right.
It's changed
Okay.
over time.
That, you know what? And we are over time today. Guys, this has been a wild, fun episode. I really just want to encourage you, because looking at it can be really difficult sometimes. It
Yeah.
can hurt your heart. When you start to see what's underneath the layers of bullshittery, it can get really sad
I just want
and
to
hard.
encourage
And you can,
Yeah.
the trust. And when everything you know starts to crumble, it can be difficult. And what I want to tell you is that you have amazing power. Your voice is incredibly powerful. Your life has meaning and purpose, that you are worth it, that you should just look in the mirror and love yourself, because you matter.
Yeah. And no matter
And the
what
world needs you.
no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've experienced and who has hurt you, you are valuable, you're loved, and you are important. Your story is important. Whether you can share it now or not, your story is important.
Yeah.
And I want to say, without sounding weird, I see you. Like, I've experienced the pain of sexual abuse, of assaults, and being in cults, and really loving myself afterward. And I just want to encourage you that you're worth it.
You are so
Keep
worth it.
healing.
Keep
Keep
going.
believing, and don't believe the lies. Don't believe the lies that you are told by your predators. Don't believe those lies, because you are an incredible person. You're beautiful, and you have a purpose. Keep seeking that purpose. Keep finding your power. Have an
Keep
incredible,
going.
yes.
Keep going. Don't
Yes.
give up. And we love you.
We love you. And we'll
I
see you
hope-
next time.
Tomorrow
Yes.
at 8 a.m. Have a great day, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye. Mwah.